those matches. So, um, I mean, soap operas, that's really what every movie's about today, right? They get your interest, and then you watch the rest of the movie, and then you evaluate it when it's all said and done. If you like it, every one of your friends know about it. If you don't like it, well, every one of your friends know about it.
Exactly. So you've had a pretty big year this year. You were inducted into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. How did that come about?
I was asked by Joe Bruin if he said he'd like to induct me and my partner Ray, and I thought that was great. To be it's an honor for any organization to recognize you. And even if it's the 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 Rotary Club, it's still an honor. That somebody or some buddies have thought that much of you to say, hey, listen, we want to honor you. So yes, I thank him very much.
Did you feel like that induction was kind of a vindication for being snubbed from the WWE Hall of Fame?
No, not at all. I don't know if I don't know if I'd use the word snubbed. Um, they pick who they want, choose who they want, but I don't know. I don't look at it like that. I'm not. I don't hold any grudges. Uh, if I do a podcast, an interview, a shoot, it's always brought up. To me, I don't bring it up. It's not like it's something that's dwelling. That I've been burned. I haven't. WWE didn't ask me to go into the Hall of Fame. I don't hold any grudge like that. It's again, it's always being brought up to me, not me bringing it up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So how did Paradise Alley get its beginnings?
Um, Two friends prior, our previous WWF wrestlers. Um, we just, they gave me a call and said, hey, we'd like to open up a wrestling school. We want you, head trainer. People know you. You've done enough shows. So that's where that went. And I said, let's do it. So we did. And it's been, we've been pretty fortunate.
And you've also been in wrestling for PAPW as well.
Well, I did in the beginning just to get a following behind, try to put some people in the seats and get a following behind the guys that, I had trained, which worked out really well. And as of late, there was a deal cut with Mohegan Sun that we would come up there and run some shows. But part of the deal was that I had to wrestle. So I did. Um, and then other than that, I've wrestled for IAW in Indiana, who is a longtime friend of mine. Consider him a brother too. So, yeah, other than that, no, I try to stay out
Do you
of it.
team mostly with
I like to
Mario
stay in the
Mancini?
back. I like to see what, what my teachings and my storylines.
Have you been teaming mostly with Mario Mancini?
Mario's one of the partners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he
That's his.
inducted you into the Hall of Fame, correct?
He
Earlier this
did.
year?
He did. Mario and I go back like 33 years. So, it's Mario, myself, Big Steve Tracy, who was actually Dave Paradise back in the day of wrestling, who is now Diadamo and Tracy bail bonds. He's got a really lucrative business. Mario hopefully is going to, get his final nod to be a full-fledged attorney. So yeah, I mean, everybody's done well for themselves. Everybody, thank God, knock on wood, is still above ground and healthy, as far as all we know, anyway. So it's cool.
And what made you want to become a trainer?
Um, they asked, you know?
Sometimes it's that easy.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, I got trained by one of the best. I got trained by Mr. Fuji, but I was also blessed to be, and I say trained by, Harley Race, Les Thornton. Um, I mean, worked with greats and, the, Mr. Perfects of the world, you know, Macho Man. Um, I don't want to leave anybody out. I don't want to upset anybody, but, there's so many, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson. There's so many people that I worked with alongside and against, Paul Orndorff, and it was great.
So one of your students is actually familiar to Central New York, Richard Holliday. How did you guys meet, and how did his training start?
Well, Richard Holliday was, a friend of my partner, Big Steve. Big Steve said, I got this kid. I think you'll like him. Um, we're going to open up a school. He was my first student of this school. And, yeah, everything escalated from there. He's fantastic. Kid's got the goods. He reminds me of a different version of me, which is, I think, a good thing. And he just needs, I don't know. It's weird in today's day and age. Before in my world, when I was wrestling, you bring a guy up, you say, "Hey guys, look, this guy's really good. Take a look at him." They put him in a dark match in front of a crowd, and then they come back to you and they be like, "Yeah, hey, this guy's good," or "Hey, I think we could use him," or "Hey, let's just bring him to TV." Now I don't know how it works. I have no clue how it works. All I know is he won Super 8. He's in Sports Illustrated, the Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Um,
So you mentioned he was ranked in the PWI 500, and he won the Super 8. How does it feel to see your students have so much success?
I mean, like it's like any proud father, looking at their kids. These guys are much younger than me. Um, Again, first and foremost, they're taught respect. They're taught to be humble. Um, do what's right and do what's right for you. Make sure that you get your just reward, your worth. When you go work for somebody, what is your worth? If they're going to pay you to come in and work for them, you give them a price. If they want to, if they tell you, just say, we'll use a number, $50, and you think you're worth 100, then you tell them 100. And if they don't want to pay you, then you decide either you're going for 50 or find a happy medium or don't go in at all. Um, Again, I got a bunch of guys that I'm very proud of, and it's just a question of whether they get picked up by the WWE or ROH or any other organization. And again, it's everybody's looking to get into the WWE, so that's what they're striving for. Even Booker T, you know, they have Booker T runs a nice little organization, so they like to go out there too.
Who are some of your other prospects that you think the world will be familiar with very soon?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, how much coverage everybody gets. Mr. Williams. We have we have Matthias, who actually just injured his wrist, and that's being repaired. So he's on the injured reserve. Um, there's our tag teams. House of Pain is a really good tag team. They get it. They understand psychology. Um, yeah, I mean, just you go on and on and on. It's kind of like when I was explaining it to Booker T, and he watched our show, thought the guys were great, but again, how do you how do you get to that next level? what brings you to that next level? I don't know how it works anymore. Maybe exposure, but then you have Richard Holliday. They brought him into the WWE, and all he did was that No Way Jose. He paraded around with No Way Jose. Well, that doesn't show your talent. That just shows you're willing to be stupid and foolish and run around in a party line. But it doesn't show the kid's talent. The kid is talented. So, what are they looking for and when?
Right. And I remember seeing Richard the first time about a year ago in the Dynasty wrestling out here in Rome, and I looked at him and I'm like, that guy's going to be somebody soon. He's got the look and the talent. There's
Yeah.
just not. I don't know what would be holding him back from making it further.
I don't know. Even Lucha Underground said to me, they said, why haven't they scooped this Richard Holliday up yet? And I said, I don't know. It makes no sense, but nothing the WWE does make sense anymore.
Right. And he's getting a little more exposure now. He's on MLW on TV.
Yep.
What do you think about MLW?
I mean, any exposure is good exposure. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Any show you're on, I think is good, because if the talent is excellent and you shine, then that's great. And if the talent isn't any good, then you're going to shine even more. So you're going to stand out. Either way, you're standing out.
Would you ever consider managing him, taking a manager role?
No, not. I don't. I think that's something for like the WWE to suggest. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something for them to suggest. I know that he came to an autograph signing with me, and he was walking around, and I went over to Terry Taylor, and Terry said, I said, hey Terry, I said, I want you to meet somebody. So I called Richard Holliday over, and he goes, man, I knew it. I knew that kid was somebody. Matter of fact, he walks like you, and he just reminded me of you. And I said, yeah, I trained him. That's it. That's part of the reason why. So, he doesn't need anybody. If the WWE said, hey, listen, who trained you? Oh, Paul Roma. Hey, maybe we should get him to manage you. That'd be a different, conversation altogether. But he doesn't need me. They don't need me. They need him. There's no doubt they need him. I've just been watching some of the show that was on. My daughter wanted to watch it, and yeah, they definitely can use some good talent. He's great. He is so talented on the microphone, and for the most part, what I see, that's really what they need is talent on the microphone. So I don't know.
Seems like they waste a lot of talent too.
Yeah, they got who they want. So, they're going to do what makes them happy. Good for them.
So, what events are coming up for Paradise Alley?
Well, we have Dieselmania, September 27th. That's our WrestleMania, so to speak. That's when we start our storylines all over again. So everything flips after that show. Whatever happens there begins our new year, so to speak. If you go to Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling.com, we have, I just did a shoot video about racism back in the day, WWF. So that's been pretty popular. Other than that, then we'll move on to October and, month to month, show to show. So we'll probably run about 10 shows a year.
Are there any coming up at Mohegan Sun soon?
We have one coming up Mohegan in December, but we're kind of pushing back on it. It's a big undertaking, running the Mohegan show. We ran a couple already. we were ready to sign a contract